everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. I have to consent to this being recorded. Okay, let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Feel free to get up on your feet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. Get up now. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. Get up now. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Oh, here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Oh, let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family.
Oh, wow, that's great. What a great song to kick us off for our kind of our closing out session of relationships. That's been our monthly theme. Let's see. I wanted to say happy birthday to Gisela. I saw you popped on. Happy birthday, Gisela. So glad you're with us today. And your birthday, I hope you're going to do something special to celebrate your wonderful life. And I'm glad you're on because we're going to do a Q&A. I'm going to, well, let me just start the service. Oh no, let's do our invocation first. So before I tell you what I'm going to talk about, let me introduce our practitioner of the day, Ralane Clarke. Welcome, Ralane. She's going to give us our invocation, our opening prayer, and she's got some interesting quotes for us. So take it away, Ralane. Welcome.
Thank you. Let's just take a collective breath and close our eyes and feel the presence of spirit in and of and through your beingness this morning, in and of and through your beingness always. And feel the presence of everyone here on the Zoom together in unity and oneness, and the oneness of spirit flowing and expressing and just being. And even those that aren't here today, they're with us, and all those that we love, and actually everyone and the entire earth. We're all connected, including with Mother Earth. And I'm so grateful for this moment together where we can listen to Reverend Michelle and participate as a community together this morning with questions. And I know that this is a very interesting service and uplifting and just feels really good. And so I just know the music is wonderful, and each and every one of you are wonderful, and your presence is very special. And so I release this prayer into divine law, knowing it is already so. And we simply say together, and so it is. And so today, we're sort of ending the month of talking about relationships. And I think it's so important to, again, look at our relationship with ourselves. And the quotes I have kind of fit in with Reverend Michelle's talk today. And they have to do with questions. And I believe that our questions always go full circle back to us. And so I'm going to read the quote, and then we're going to have some silence. I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and I'd just like you to silently reflect or contemplate whichever question speaks to you the most, and just to silently ponder it and think about it and see what comes up for you. So the first quote is by Eric Butterworth in the Spiritual Economics book. My kitty is meowing in the background here. Your life is God's gift to you. What you do with it is your gift to God. And then the other quote is from Louise Hay, and it says, "From time to time, I ask those who are important to me, how can I love you more? I also ask myself this question daily." Okay, so let's just close our eyes. We're going to take a moment of silence, and I'm just going to ask you a couple questions. And just, just pick one that resonates with you and just sit with it. What are you doing with your life? And how might your life be a gift to God? And the other question is, ask others how I can love you more. And right now, I ask myself, how can I love you more? So as we come back together again, I recommend that you sit with these questions at other times now in your days, because I think that they're important questions, and to take some time and to listen to what comes up for you. And so now we're going to read our July's affirmation. I guess this is the last time for this month. I am free with the freedom of God. Today, I manifest this freedom and joy. I see myself free and complete and perfect, and I affirm that God's freedom is my freedom. I enter into this freedom with complete abandonment and a sincere desire to live, so that my freedom shall be imparted to others. And so it is. So it is.
That was great, Ralane. I love that we started out asking ourselves questions. I'm a big proponent, as you know, of empowering questions, and those were for sure. So, Jesse, you have some more music for us? Welcome to those who just popped on. I see Steve and Abigail. Nice to see you. Go ahead, Jesse. You're muted.
Thank you. So, one of those questions really brought this song to mind. So many years I've hidden, so many lies I've told. The ignorance of you, or a woman too afraid of truth. So many things mistaken, so much guilt I hold. Buried alive, a weight on my chest, stole my breath, and I went cold. And how I long for the warmth of love, for the softer side of me. The time is now, I shall be free. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I forgive, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive myself for everything. Expectations shattered, promises unkept. So many times I swore I'd change. Years go by and I'm still the same. And how I long for tenderness and grace with my own hand. I am the one, I understand. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I forgive, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive myself for everything. Guess the faith I had in myself turns to confusion. Such a slow erosion. Seemed that hope and trust were just another couple of illusions. But somewhere deep inside I realize I am worthy. I am somebody who can be relied on. So I'm gonna put my faith in me. I put my faith in me once again. I have found redemption. I put my faith in me. I put my faith in me once again. Oh, I have found redemption. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. Oh, I forgive. I forgive. I forgive. I forgive myself. I forgive. I forgive. I forgive. I forgive myself for everything. I forgive. I forgive. I forgive. I forgive myself.
Oh, that was beautiful. Very, very powerful. It gave me God bumps when you were singing. You know, I was just having this conversation with my son the other day. We were talking about forgiveness, and I was reminding him that forgiveness is never about the other person, the other situation, the other event, whatever it may be. It is always about us. It is letting ourselves be free from the bonds of what has come before. And so that was just so perfect. And isn't that what we've been talking about all month? We've been talking about our relationship to all of life, but ultimately it all comes down to our relationship with ourselves, for we are the presence of the divine. You know, we are spirit incarnate. So good morning and welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living's online Sunday service. And as I just said, you know, this month we've been taking a very deep dive into relationships. And we started off by focusing on the relationship we have with ourselves. And then we moved on to the relationships we have with each other, our family and friends. And we looked at that interconnection with our larger culture, our connection to the collective consciousness of humanity, of life in general. When we looked at our connection with nature, and we discovered that we are star stuff, as Carl Sagan and Neil deGrasse Tyson remind us. And this morning, I thought I'd wind up this topic of relationships with a few words and then just kind of open the floor to any questions or comments you have on the subject of relationships, or actually any subject having to do with the science of mind, philosophy, or new thought in general. And I know that we have ministers online, several ministers online, we have practitioners, we have people who have been deeply entrenched in living this philosophy for years and years and years. So there's a lot of wisdom here. I'm not going to pretend that I am the wise master, because I am just like you, just learning and living as I move my feet every day. So let's just start with just a little kind of pulling the threads of relationships together, the topic of relationships. Yes? I heard a loud noise. Did someone? What was that? Okay, never mind. We're gonna, I'll begin again. Sorry about that. So we'll just pull the threads of relationships together and just kind of bring it all to a close. I want to draw our attention to the basic science of mind teaching that God is all there is. And since there is only God, the way we relate to ourselves, to one another, the world, and to God, however we experience that presence, is all interconnected and inseparable. You know, we can't pick it apart and pull it apart. And so our exploration of relationships is kind of an invitation for us to see our relationship with everything and everyone as a relationship to God, as a relationship to the one, you know, to see every encounter is an encounter with the presence of the divine, even when it doesn't look like the presence of the divine, even when it isn't so evident that this actually is the presence of the divine. It's really about being able to see every encounter as a holy encounter, even when the evidence may show us something to the contrary. And that's not always an easy thing to do, you know, to train ourselves to be able to see the world through the eyes of oneness, through the perception of our oneness with a larger life. You know, and I found a great quote from Ernest Holmes, our founder, where he kind of made this real clear. And so, I always like to throw Ernest's voice into every service. So I'm going to share this quote with you. Ernest Holmes wrote in Creative Mind and Success that mankind's inner life is one with the Father or the Creator. You can always exchange Father, Mother for Creator, God. There can be no separation for this self-evident reason that there is nothing to separate us from God, because there is nothing but life. The separation of two things implies putting a different element between them. But as there is nothing different from God, the unity of God and mankind is firmly established forever. My Father and I are one is a simple statement of a great soul who perceived life as it really is, and not from the mere standpoint of outer conditions. So it's really about being able to see life, perceive life from oneness, and let the world, the outer conditions, be what they are. Entertain them, encounter them, embrace them, live them as they are, but not let them inform your experience of them. You know, we're human. We're going to be sad. We're going to get angry sometimes. But to be able to train ourselves to come back into that perception of oneness, to encounter every situation from the experience of our oneness with the divine. I wanted to share a story with you, just one last story for the month. And it's a great story about a farmer who grew award-winning corn. Every year he would win a blue ribbon at the state fair. And one year a reporter learned that the farmer shared his seed with all of his neighbors. And so the reporter went to this farmer and he said, Why would you share your best seed with your neighbors when they're your competition? And the farmer replied, don't you know? The wind picks up pollen from all the ripening cornfields all around me. If my neighbors grow inferior corn, then cross-pollination will steadily degrade the quality of my corn. If I want a good grow, my neighbors grow good corn. The farmer knew that everything was connected, and he couldn't grow good corn unless his neighbors could grow good corn. So, that's what we teach in the science of mind, is there is only one good. There is only one God. And it reminds us of our interconnectedness. When we choose to live in peace and cooperation, we live in peace and cooperation with everyone. Everyone joins us in that endeavor. When we choose to live well, we all live well. The welfare of each of us is bound up with the welfare of all of us. There is no separation. We are one body and one life. So the lesson is, if I want to grow good corn, I have to support you in growing good corn. We're not alone in this life. We truly are one. And as I was putting this together, I was reminded of that wonderful Karen Drucker chant that I think I shared not too long ago, that she says, there is only one of us. In your eyes, it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection. There is only one. Here's where we live. In you, I see my reflection. In everything, I see my reflection. It can't be any different. We're one. So even when things that other people are doing do not match my particular perception or values or what I would do, I can still know good for them. I can still bless them. Confer good on them is to bless someone, and to see what is possible for them in their lives. To always know that the best of them is about to blossom. And as I do that for them, I'm doing it for myself. It can't be any other way. So I just kind of want to open everything up. When we were in person, not often, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, I would do a question and answer session where, people would just ask questions and I would just kind of give my take on it. But, it doesn't even have to be my take. I'm going to invite everyone to chime in today and contribute. Does anybody have a particular question that they would like to ask? Has anybody thought about it? I came prepared with the questions just in case nobody else had one. Rob, you got something?
I'll fire this thing off.
Yay!
Well, I don't know. This may come across as the world's most stupid question that you've already answered about 10 times in your talk so far. But this one actually stays with me a lot. And that is, unity is such a core principle of what we believe. But what I notice in me is the perception of unity varies depending upon the situation I'm in. And just for a classic example, I've often said I don't automatically agree with everything that Ernest Holmes says, but one of the most brilliant things I appreciate in him is the differentiation between love and law. I bring this up a lot. And what I notice about the law is anytime you're dealing with the law, unity in order to make it work, to create what you want to create, you need to unify. Unification is absolutely critical. But when I get over into the love side, it's sort of like, it feels like love needs a lover and a lovee, needs a source of love and an object of love.
Ooh,
so the actual question is more along the lines of, do you notice that in different situations, the unity of the universe is more key versus in other areas, distinction is more important, or seems important.
It's such a great question, and really kind of jumps into the heart of this teaching, doesn't it, Rob? And I'm really glad you brought that to the fore, because it's just such an interesting question. You know, in Science of Mind, we teach love and law. So you're right, the law, and we say that we participate with natural law. And we do that through our union. So you're right, we have to establish ourselves in the unity of love so that we can participate positively or in the good that is available within the love through the law, right? It's like looking at a beautiful sunset. I have to have the eyes to see, right? To be able to really take in this beauty, or to participate with electricity. I have to have wires to run it to my television or my computer or whatever, to be able to participate in this amazing presence of electricity. You know, it's the same thing. So I hear what you're saying. So let me see if I get exactly what you're saying. So what you're saying is that to really get into that union of love, to really experience that oneness, it sometimes feels like there must be a give and a take, giving and receiving to really experience it. And I wonder, and this just came to me, and as I'm speaking, I wonder if that is one of the purposes of our expression in form, that God, Spirit, the Creator, whatever it is, was so entrenched and overrun and overflowed with this presence of divine love that it wanted to express, it needed to express itself into form, to be able to experience that giving and receiving, that welcomeness, how it feels between lovers or mother and child, or owner and pet, or two people that are deeply friends and want to feel that connection. Could it be that one of the purposes and the meaning of us being in form and being with each other is so that we can richly and more deeply experience that give and take of love? I mean, why not? I think that's I feel that it's palpable in me as I'm saying it, because when do we experience love at its deepest? Sometimes in our moments of deep contemplation and oneness, where we are entrenched in the spirit, but it still feels like it's an infinite givingness of receiving, and when we're in those moments, when we're in deep love with another person or another life form. So when I'm established in that, I don't even have to effort the law into motion. I don't even have to do anything but stand in the feeling and the expression of that love and feel it express from me and move through me. You know, we did earlier in the meditation, I did a meditation about flowing as a water or stream, and anything that gets in the way, the movement and the love of the water just moves the brambles or the obstructions or whatever out of the way. And it feels that way when we're participating with law from that essence of love. So am I answering your question? I feel like I'm getting off track here, but you can focus me a little bit more. So does that at all give any clarity to how I look at it and how I think Science of Mind teaches our participation in love and moving that love into our physical universe, into our lives through law?
It does, Michelle. Thank you. Basically, it was just how do you experience this? As I know I sort of deal with this pretty much continuously, and when I feel God's love, the feeling is definitely like there's something out there that is flowing love into me. And so it's a perception thing, really. But I was just curious to know if you notice almost a differential there between in different situations. But I think you answered the question about as well as you can.
I would say yes for that. You know, maybe the best the best analogy I can come up with is a bouquet of flowers. You know, are there some flowers that are more beautiful than others, or are they just all different? And do we love them all? And do we experience the beauty in each of them? And yes, I think, you know, it's sort of like, and I've been talking a lot about this lately. For some reason, it's been on my mind, that I-thou relationship that Martin Buber spoke of, the philosopher, German philosopher who lived, you know, last century. But you know, it's that I-thou of making every moment and every encounter with anything. We're just these points of expression for this marvelous energy of love, you know? So I think we can't help but experience that individually, but yet see it from our oneness and our wholeness. It's sort of, it feels like a paradox, but, you know, and yet here we are living it. And I'm wondering if any of the other, Gisela, Abigail, Steve, you're all ministers. You want to chime in and give your opinion? Can you answer this?
Well, I think you express it as beautifully as one can express it. And ultimately, for me, it's something that is ineffable, that cannot really put into words. It's an experience, it's a presence, it's a beingness. And I think I get into some difficulty when I try to put words to it. It seems like it's limiting it, even though we must express it as best as we can. And I think you did just that.
I think that's really well said. It really is. It's almost impossible to put into words. Reverend Leslie, you've got anything to add to that?
Oh, I think we live in two worlds. And when we decide to do something working with that law, we go back to the world of divine instead of the world of form. So that there is a unification that takes place. And I think based on our own judgment, we set up how much of a unification and love that there has to be in working with that issue.
Yeah, it is. I've always thought it was, being human is sort of like, you know, dancing on the edge, you know. I mean, we've got one foot in the world of the divine and one foot in form, and we navigate the two, and doing that is such an art, you know. It's like, when do I need to pay more attention to the world of form, and when do I need to pay more attention to the divinity, and to just, you know, blend the two is just, it's an art. It really is.
It's a dance.
It's a dance for sure. How about you, Abigail or Steve?
Sure, I'll chime in on everybody. I'll say ditto, ditto, ditto. One thing that I've noticed, that when I do my treatment work, the best work happens when I'm in a place of complete quiet and feeling of joy and happiness. And I think joy and happiness combines into love. When I'm with my grandchild, I'm in joy because I love her so much. When the day just is going in divine order and timing, I'm in love and joy and happiness, and it kind of all comes together, all those good feelings. And in treatment, you know, if you're going to put something into the law, I check in with my feelings first. If my feelings are something like, dang, I wish that would happen, not so sure the law is going to provide exactly what I want, because if we really want something sincerely in our heart, then our treatment has to reflect that joy and happiness, and vision it and feel it, and combine all those good feelings into one. And I write it out on my journal because that works for me. And then it happens because I'm in that place of the divine or joy or love. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling content. And that always works for me when I'm putting something out there into the law, because it's never really out there. It's within me. We have to realize it's all within ourselves. We're creating something within ourselves. It's not out there somewhere. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. It's perception for sure. Yeah, but I do like your point, and I think it's a really good one and very profound, that there are many aspects or expressions, we call them, of the divine, the beauty, wisdom, compassion, friendship, joy, and all of these, I think, are seated in love, but they all draw us back into that point of deep connection and the expression of love, however we experience it. And the experiences that we have in the world can draw us back into that. Yes, we can seat ourselves in the soul of love and in the heart of who we are at our deepest level, and experience and see that, and impress law from that place. But also, when we do that, we see things that bring a deep sense of gratitude or joy into our life and remind us. So it's sort of a give and take again. Yes, the world reminds me who I really am as I live from that center and express it out into the world and create that. So I love that point. Thank you so much. Thank you. You got something for us, Steve?
Yeah, I think our greatest goal is to love the dichotomy in our life, because we will all have ups and downs. We will all experience something, and the person next to us will experience it differently. We will all have a variety of different feelings throughout our life, good and bad. And that dichotomy is what makes us human. If it was always perfect, if it was always love, we couldn't feel the love as much as we do when we realize we had an experience that wasn't loving.
Mm-hmm.
And when we experience and I'll use the word negative, but you know what I'm talking about. When we experience a negative, it makes the future wonderful thing that much more wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's loving the dichotomy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we had the flu the other day. Wow, today we're healthy. God, thank you for both.
Yeah.
And then I'll shut up.
No, I think that's really important. And for me, when I have an experience that is not my preference, like a cold or the flu or whatever, this is not my preference, to remind myself that, oh, wait a minute, I'm empowered to create something new. The world of effects does not have the last word. I am the creator of the experience. Yes, I may encounter things that are really not my preference, but that doesn't mean that I have to stay there, that I am empowered through my union and my oneness with that loving presence within me to create something new and to experience the joy and the blessing and the wisdom and the love of something new, of that which is deep inside me. So while those not preferred experiences show up in my experience, they're wonderful guideposts to point me in the direction of what I do want. Oh, wait a minute, I need to course correct here. They're wonderful navigating tools to go back to the love and to participate with law to create something new, because we are infinite creators. We are the ones who bring the meaning and the purpose into our lives, and we do it from that union. And I think you're right. It's, as we were saying earlier, it's like that dance, that art of finding that place in that dichotomy. Yeah, wonderful. Gisela, please.
Well, talking about the dichotomy, that's what we experience. But we have to remember, we can never, ever separate love and law. It's always one. Love is always there, even when we don't experience it. It is still there in fullness, only not fully expressed, not only fully experienced, but it's still there. and the law never stops operating. So love and law, love points the way and law makes the way possible. It's the two aspects of our teaching, the metaphysical and the mystical. The metaphysical is the law part, and the mystical is the love part. And they are both together, and Ernest Holmes taught both of them so beautifully, and I think that's what makes our teaching so rich.
Isn't it true? Thank you for saying that. I totally love that. Yeah, you know, I'm in the Course in Miracles, there's a few lines that say, you can never be separate from God. You can imagine that you're separate from God, but you are never separate from God. We only imagine, and it comes back to that idea of Abigail's idea of perception. We can perceive that we're separate, but we are never separate. If we were separate, we would not be alive. No God, no life. It's just the way it is. Yeah, so perfect. I love that. Thank you for reminding us. I love that. You know, the question that I had kind of put together just in case, because I didn't want to have any dead air. And I know that sometimes you ask people questions and they go, huh. So the question that I had come up with is that, is there a distinction between the sacred, the mundane, or the profane? And I think we've kind of answered that there is not, that there may be a perception of difference, but that it's all one, it's all God, it can't be anything else. Even if we experience or if it's not our preference, it's still all God and all sacred. So anyway, oh, that's great. Look, what a great question you kicked us off with, Rob. That was amazing. What a great discussion. I love it. Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about or expand on this? Ralane, please.
I just wanted to talk about love and law just a little bit more.
Yeah, sure.
When I was beginning in Science of Mind, I used to include in my daily prayers, my life is all love and law. It's all love and law. And I would just include it daily and meditated on it. So it became sort of part of my beingness. And with that, I always felt just so grateful for Ernest Holmes to have taught me this. And it's something that I feel like Gisela, it is beyond words. And it's just a feeling that is very deep inside of me. But I think the daily prayers and the meditations and the really embracing it helped a lot in my life.
So your prayer was, my life is all love and law?
Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful. It's so simple and yet so all-encompassing. It's just a really simple statement of unity and action or participation. That's beautiful. I am totally going to use that. My life is all love and law. How beautiful that is. Thank you. Anybody else want to share? This is rich. I am enjoying this. Well, if you don't want to share about love and law, have you got anything else that you'd like to discuss? Something that's up for you in your life that you would like some wisdom about? Jesse, are you waving or are you just moving your hand?
No, sorry, I'm moving my light around.
Oh, no worries.
Because I'm noticing dark spots and it's making me OCD.
That's all right. By the way, I love the integrity art behind you. That is
Thank you.
So great.
Thank you. Yeah,
So
my
good.
summer art project 2 years ago. So
It's wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. So anybody else, just unmute and just chime right in. Oh, come on. Surely someone has something to share. Ralane.
Me again.
Silence got to you, didn't it?
So what's up for us is climate change. We've been in triple digits for about a week now, little over a week. And sometimes it really is weighing on us because it is very oppressive, the heat anyway. And we can't go outside. I mean, we can, but it doesn't feel good to go outside. And sometimes I find it hard to spiritually rise above it when we're in the middle of it with the drought and the wildlife and just everything. And I guess we'd like a little bit more support about it from a science of mind perspective, how we can kind of move through this and how we can kind of help the earth.
Wow, that is such a great question. And you know what? It's really been up for me too. There's a part of me, and this might be true for you as well, that has not really wanted to engage with that, like, oh, that just seems so big. And so it's like, how can anything that I do, I mean, I recycle and I do my part, I conserve water when possible and all of that, but it just doesn't seem like enough. And I feel sometimes, helpless almost, and powerless. There's the word I'm looking for. What's that funny joke about if you ever find yourself feeling powerless, you've never been alone with one mosquito in a room. It's like, that one mosquito will have a lot of power. But you know what? I really try to see it from the larger time scope. That what I contribute individually in my individual perspective contributes to the collective, because I know we're all one. And my actions contribute, and what I hold as being possible also contributes. So I know that the mother, the earth, is a being in and of itself. And I know that all beings have systems in place that heal themselves and bring themselves back into homeostasis, that are able to heal themselves. So I try to look at the mother as this entity that knows how to heal itself, and that I will do everything in both consciousness and in action to support and facilitate that healing. So, and that's not a perfect solution either, but it's the only way that I can feel empowered, and that I know that the life scale of a planet is way longer than mine. And so this process may be slower than I think it should be, that ultimately, what is that weird saying, everything will be all right in the end, and if it's not the end, it's not all, or if it's not all right, it's not the end. I mean, it seems kind of like a flip saying, but the truth is that in the end, all will end in love. I don't even think there is an end. It's infinite, and it will always continue to express. But you get what I'm saying? I struggle with the same thing, and so I'm really welcoming anybody else's perspective on this, because it's huge for us at this point in our evolution as human beings living on this planet.
Can I say something?
Sure, I'd love it.
I can relate to what Ralane was saying, because I know the temperatures, when you feel them, they're hot and excruciating. And it gets back again to what you were saying. We have to just believe, and here's the belief system. Believe that Mother Nature takes care of itself, and we do our part. Absolutely, treat and move your feet. So we have to do our part. But I just want to, just for a little humor, can I say a little humor here?
Sure.
It really has to do with belief here. I was reading in the paper today, and sometimes I read the back page and sometimes I don't. But today I just read this one little article about people in India, and I don't remember what province or state, but they're in the drought and the 3-digit temperatures, and they're just so hot. And somebody said that there was an old saying that if they get 2 frogs together and marry them, rain will come. Well, there was some deep-seated mythical belief about this in that community. They found 2 frogs, they did some marriage over them, and the rain came.
So it's about belief.
It's about belief. Absolutely. Yes. And I smiled at that.
That's pretty
And
funny.
I think that maybe, we understand that in our original people's sacred ceremonies, one of them is the rain ceremony, where they chant and they drum and they dance to bring the rain, because they believe that what they're doing will bring the rain. Well, again, it has to do with belief. If we can get our belief to the point where it'll rain, or the temperatures will come down, if we truly, whatever it is, it really does get back to our belief system. Right now, I think we're in a race consciousness that's saying it's too hot and we're all hot. Well,
Yeah.
if we're still in that consciousness, and it's going to remain hot, and we're all going to stay hot. So some of us, or all of us, or whoever chooses to, can get into that belief that the winds are coming and the rain is here. We have the moisture, the humidity goes down, and I know that there are different time zones that have hotter weather than others, obviously, but we still can get back into our own belief system. If nothing else, say, today I'm cool, and just be cool today. I mean, feel that energy of coolness and take it with you. Put a bubble of light around you as you walk out the door and say, I'm in this cool bubble of light. And the belief of that will really help you move from outside to inside and inside to outside. So anyway, that's all I have to say.
I love
Great.
that. That's true. Gisela, please. And then Marcia.
Well, I think we can no longer afford to think locally. We have to think globally. We have to think and remember that we are one humanity on this earth. No longer just be limited to our region, wherever we live. No longer just think about what makes us comfortable, but really take the broader vision and say what we can do. And yes, there is Mother Earth, but we are like the incorrigible children who are acting out. And I think it's time for us to behave. It's time for us to get the wake-up call. And we have to ask ourselves, how bad does it have to get before? Do we have to hit rock bottom before we wake up and make the changes that are necessary? And really remember that we are in this together. I saw this documentary about a village in Bangladesh yesterday, and it just broke my heart that the women in that village have to depend on prostitution in order to feed their children. And we sometimes like to stay in our bubble, but we can no longer afford to do that. We are this one human family of brothers and sisters. We have to look out for each other. And yes, yet we deserve to be comfortable, and we have this wonderful teaching at our disposal to help us individually. But it's more than that. We have to help everyone and help awaken everyone. Abigail spoke so beautifully about consciousness. That's what it's all about, to wake up and to do what we need to do.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Well said. Thank you so much, Gisela. I really, yeah, I think you're right that it's a global, and hasn't the time come now for us for this philosophy, which honors that global collective consciousness, to come together? It's the time is ripe for us. Marcia, you wanted to speak.
Yeah, on the same subject, last week Kentucky had devastating floods. So that brought to my mind the incredible imbalance that's going on right now on the planet. And a lot of that has to do with consciousness. But also too, what I've noticed about living in California, and I've lived here most of my life. I've lived, I'm from the Midwest originally, and I've lived on the East Coast. And I notice people complain about the rain here. It'll rain 2 days in a row and people's like, oh, I wish it would stop raining. And it really makes me cringe to hear that, because there's so many people that live in California that are out of touch with nature, glued to our cars. I mean, I'm guilty of that as well. But the thing is, when we start complaining about the rain, then it causes imbalances. And, we need the rain. Rain is nourishment. The reservoirs are low. I mean, at unprecedented levels. It's really kind of alarming what's happening. And I think that people are becoming less connected to the source of nature. And because of that, that consciousness that's kind of pervasive, I try to do my part, it's like, well, I think I'll just do a little rain dance tonight or something, just whatever. Of course, collectively, I think it would have a lot more power than just me alone. But, I think that we have to stop complaining about the rain in the Southwest and even the Northwest. I know they get a lot, Seattle, Washington, Oregon, in the past has had tremendous amounts of rain, but now they're having triple digit heat. And so it's like, maybe all that complaining that people were doing was, is having an opposite effect. I mean, this is just conjecture on my part, but I know consciousness creates the weather, that everything's intertwined and connected. So it's just food for thought.
And good food for thought too. Just a second, Jim. Do you all, I've always shared that Greg Braden story before about when he went with the shaman up to the medicine wheel, and the shaman said he was going to pray for rain. And so he stood in the middle of the wheel and he put his arms out and he just sat there for a while. And then he turned to Greg and said, do you want to go get something to eat? And he said, wait a minute, I thought we were going to pray for rain. And he said, no. We're not going to pray for rain. We're going to pray rain. And he said, well, what do you mean? He said, I stood in the medicine wheel and I felt the rain on my face and I wiggled my toes to feel the mud in between my toes. I stood in the torrential rain and heard the thunder and saw the lightning. He said, I prayed rain. And that's what we do when we treat. We feel the presence of whatever it is that we're treating for. So I think that is, we don't want to see something come in the future. We want to experience it here and now. And that's what impresses law. So anyway, I just wanted to share that story because I think it's so illustrative. Go ahead, Jim.
Let's see, my 2 cents, being the gratitude guy, I think that's my new handle these days, is that whenever I'm feeling what we're talking about, I still go back to making a list of the things that are working in my life. And the 10th one or the 5th one or whichever one is the opposite of whatever I'm feeling. Thank you, God, that, blah, blah, blah. Gratitude is what the 4th step in treatment.
Yeah.
And immediately when I do that, my feeling of fear goes down and my feeling of what is working goes up. And I think that if more of us start focusing on what we want and giving thanks for what we have, eventually all this focus on the negative is going to switch to the positive. But we gotta keep telling the story over and over and over until it happens. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think gratitude is really key. It's almost 11:30 and I don't know if Jessie has somewhere else to be afterwards. Do you have, she does. So I tell you what, let's let Jessie sing her final song for us and then we'll do the benediction and the announcements. But wait, first, before anything, I would like for Steve, could you give us a quick rundown of what's happening with Interfaith Week? I want everybody to be aware. And while we're still recording, I'd like you to.
Thank you, Michelle. Next Sunday begins Interfaith Awareness Week. It is being celebrated globally throughout the United States, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, Pakistan, Israel, England, Australia, and interfaith groups from around the world are making presentations throughout the week. The presentations go for 7 days, 12 hours a day, and you can tie into people doing wonderful, wonderful things all over the world. The information will be.
Well, I'm going to post it in the e-newsletter, and there's a website. I'll put the website in the e-newsletter, and people can look online and see what the schedule is and what they'd like to attend.
Yeah, because there is so much going on, and this ties into what you were talking about. We see the world from our own standpoint. Can't do it any other way. But at the same time, people around the world are seeing it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And some are seeing it more positively then we see the hotness, the disasters of this and that. I'm not saying anything good about some of
Climate change.
the things that we do not want to have happen in the world. But there's a lot of people who think like we do. Different faiths, different backgrounds, people that don't belong to a particular faith. And I think the funniest thing, and then I'll shut up, the funniest thing is to meet people from the different faiths, tell them what we believe in New Thought, and they all say, we believe that.
Thanks, Abigail.
Anyway.
She just posted the website, and I'm going to post it in the e-newsletter. And if for some reason you don't get the e-newsletter, just email me and I'll give you all of the information.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate it. All right, Jesse, woo-hoo, take us out, and then we'll get announcements in the benediction. Oh, and our time of sacred giving. We just went long today.
I like all the discussion. I think it's great. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Okay. So I wrote this song for this week, for this theme. It's funny. It's a funny song. All right. Everything is me. Everything is me. Everything is me. And I am everything. Oh, everything is me. Everything is me. Oh, everything is me. And I am everything. My joy, my anger, my rage and my peace, my body, my soul, and the things that I think. My mother, my neighbor, my cat and my plants, the sky, the moon, the sun, the stars, and me dancing my dance. 'Cause everything is we. Everything is we. Oh, everything is we. And we are everything. Gotta accept the darkness, my losses, my wins, my shame and deceit, my pleasure-driven way of living, the havoc it wreaks, my clever words, my skillful ways, the magic I make. Even the oats I eat in the morning look like my face. Oh, everything is me. You know how people see Jesus in a piece of toast? Everything is me. Oh, everything is me. And I am everything. Oh, everything is me. Everything is me. Oh, everything is we. And we are everything. Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh, that's beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So I know you've got a festival to go to, so if you pop off while we're doing our closing prayer, feel free, but it was lovely to see you.
Thank you. Lovely to be with you guys. I will pop off a little bit sooner than usual, but I'll stay for a couple more minutes.
Okay. And I have Lisa as our benedictor today, but she's not here. Oh, it's you, Leslie? Oh, okay. I think you might have traded in the, anyway, you go for it, honey.
Okay. We know that we've all been divinely directed to come here this morning, and that we have gotten a gift from Spirit and what has happened here at One Heart, One Mind. And so we have an opportunity to practice the law of circulation in now supporting One Heart, One Mind in all that they do. And we have a couple of ways that we can do that. One is with Venmo, which is an online way to donate. And another way is if you would like to write a check, you send that to our Assistant Treasurer, Jim Massipus, and he has posted the address in the chat. And now, if you will join together with me in our sacred affirmation. I recognize that all supply flows from the divine givingness of spirit. My gift is a continuation of this divine flow. I give and receive from this infinite supply. I give in faith, in love, and in joy, and it flows back to me in kind. And so it is.
Oh, it is. Michelle, you're muted.
Oh, for heaven. I was just saying, well, let's let Yvonne do the announcements and then we'll come back to Reverend Leslie for the benediction.
Okay, Monday prayer group, 6 to 6:20. Silent prayer for our center. And according to Living a Science of Mind, one way group prayer is effective is when we all agree to work for a specific purpose and completely forgetting themselves and their personal desires merge their whole attention for the common good. Please join us to do that on Monday for 20 little minutes. Tuesday evening, 6 to 7, we will be discussing chapter 10, which is Discover the Wonder of Giving, from Eric Butterworth's book, Spiritual Economics. And the conversation is led by Reverend Michelle and Practitioner Ralane. Unexpected Income fundraiser is still up and living. If you need to know how it works, please read in the newsletter how it works. And be sure to label your unexpected donations as unexpected. Get involved with it. It's really fun and it really helps the center. Also, please read about the Kindness Fund that was written by Ralane, Clarke, and it's in the newsletter. It's really important. We need to live in that domain. And that's all I have.
Hey, thank you. Hey, Jesse, can you do a quick happy birthday for Gisela? Can you play happy birthday? You're muted. You're muted. Yep. Oh, there you are. Now you got it.
Okay.
You're unmuted.
Okay. Hold on. You know, it's so funny. I never have the chords of happy birthday memorized.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
well,
I'm pulling them up right now. Hold on.
okay. I was going to say we could just sing it a cappella.
I mean, if you want to do that.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gisela. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Happy birthday, Gisela. I hope it's a good one.
Hope you have a wonderful day. And Reverend Leslie, why don't you take us out with our benediction?
Let us take a deep breath and close our eyes as we give thanks for this philosophy known as the science of mind that was created by Ernest Holmes that we use in our lives. We know that we have learned much about love and law today, and that we drop this down into our heart level, knowing that we are the vibration of love, and that this vibration touches everyone we come into contact with as we realize our oneness with that greater power in our lives. We are thankful for our awareness, our consciousness of this oneness. And this is what we live through every experience that we have this next week. We know that it is going to be a great week and that it is going to be full of love and life and goodness. And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you.
Steve always likes to share the goodies at the end.
You have to have something to eat as you go through the rest of your day.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, goodness.